Thank you very much. Most of all, I'm the parent of 3 incredible young women, and that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about today. Thank you, President Kinloch. Thank you, Chair and honored guests. Welcome, honored graduates, family, friends, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor to share today with you. In my view, we have very few once-in-a-lifetime moments. This is one of those moments. Today is filled with inspiration, joy, fun, and gratitude. I hope you savor every moment of today. You are in a very special group, and you will be in this group for the rest of your life because you're a BCIT graduate. Beyond that, you are a graduate in either the BCIT School of Health Sciences or Computing and Academic Studies. That puts you in the top of the class in many sectors of our economy. As a BCIT grad, doors will open for you. Relationships will be forged for and with you. Opportunities will be presented. You carry with you the legacy of thousands of graduates who have gone before you, who have built the brand and the reputation of this incredible institution, many of whom have shaped our community and indeed our country. Now, before you think it's all easy street, just remember, along with the benefits comes a responsibility. As a BCIT graduate, you must never, ever forsake what this institution stands for. It's a pretty fair balance. You have the benefit of 50 years of BCIT strength and reputation, and you are now endowed with the responsibility to continue to build the strength of that reputation through the decisions that you make. You're off to a pretty good start. You made an excellent decision to come and study at BCIT. You made an even better decision to study in either the School of Health Sciences or Computing and Academic Studies. And you made a truly wonderful decision to graduate. And this is what I want to talk to you about. I want to share with you a few of my experiences over the many years about decision making. While we may not all be created the same in some respects, some of us are tall, some of us aren't so tall, some of us are great athletes, other great artists. If you're like me, you're none of those. Some of us will be radiologists, other of us will be nurses, and other of us will be entrepreneurs. But one thing is absolutely clear. We all have the same 24 hours in a day to live. And we have both the ability and the responsibility to choose how we want to live. Make sure you're living your life based on your decisions, not on the decisions of what your life should be that are imposed or suggested upon you by others. Now, take advice, listen to others, care about their interests, embrace different perspectives, and then make your decision. If you live your life, you have the best chance of happiness and success. And yes, it does go in that order, happiness first and then success. You know, I first encountered the importance of a personal decision around career when I was in grade 9. Now, that was way back in the olden days for most of you, but we had guidance class, and we were all sitting around in the classroom, and the teacher was going around asking us, what do you want to be when you finish high school? And she came to me, and I said I wanted to be a doctor. And her face contorted, and she said, a doctor? I said, yeah, I want to be a doctor. She said, well, you know, if you want to be a doctor, you're going to have to go to school after you graduate from high school. I said, well, yeah, I know that. She said, if you want to be a doctor, you're going to have to work hard. Maybe what you should do is see if you can get a job working in a doctor's office. And I thought, well, no, I want to be a doctor. And she said, I think you're really on the wrong track. You've made the wrong decision. Now, I was in grade 9 at the time, and as we all know, when we're in grade 9, we make no wrong decisions. But I did leave that class thinking that maybe I had made the wrong decision because she was smarter than me, she was a teacher, etc. Now, y'all know I didn't become a doctor. And that's because shortly after the guidance class, Science 9 requires that you dissect a cow's eyeball and then you have to reconstruct a chicken skeleton. And those of you in health sciences are probably thinking, yeah, that's really fun. It didn't sit well with me, but I did continue on the path that I wanted to be a doctor. And then I had chemistry 11, and that ended my medical career. But at that time, I felt pretty good about it because it was my decision. It wasn't a decision that had been imposed on me by someone else. Now, back in grade 9 in the 1970s, we didn't talk much about values. It was much later in my life that I realized the importance of personal values. If you know your values, decision-making becomes much clearer. Not necessarily easy, but clearer. Elvis Presley recognized the importance of values when he said values are a little bit like fingerprints. No two sets are alike, but we leave them everywhere we go. And I can honestly say that when I've made decisions consistent with my values, they've turned out to be the right decisions. And when I've veered away from my values, I've been on the wrong course. And that came home to Brad and I very clearly in 2001. I was in a meeting in Ottawa, and Brad was on a movie set out in a fly-in only camp in Pemberton. And a little piece of paper was handed to me in my meeting, and I opened it up, and it said, "Phone home urgent." I can still remember now the shivers that ran through me as I walked from that meeting room to the telephone, not knowing what I would hear at the other end of the line. One of our nanny's friends answered the line, and she said, "Sue, Alma's been taken to hospital in an ambulance. She's going to be fine." Alma was our nanny. "She's going to be fine, but I'm wondering, what do you want to do about the children?" Our 5-year-old was in kindergarten. Our other 2 children were in grade 2 and 3 at the time. I was in Ottawa. Brad was in a fly-in only camp. We have no family in the lower mainland of BC. All of my friends were working. All of Brad's friends were scattered across various movie sets or playing hockey. And I realized then I didn't really know my neighbors. I didn't know the family and the friends of the kids that my children went to school with. And I knew that we'd made a decision that was off track with our values. I got on a plane, I flew back from Ottawa to Vancouver, and all the way home, I wrote my resignation letter. I was managing partner of Canada's largest law firm at the time. I got home. Brad had already come home. He'd got the same note that I had, and he too had decided that he was going to resign from his job. We had a wonderful delusional moment of how great it would be if we could both quit our jobs and just hang out with the kids all day. Then reality hit, and we made a decision, and Brad stayed home. It was a decision that our children thought was completely idiotic, but 16 years later, we know that that was the most relevant and powerful decision we made for our family at that time, and it was made because of our family values. It was an excellent decision. As you move through life, you're going to make a lot of excellent decisions. That's a certainty. What's also a certainty is you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make some wrong decisions. You're going to make some decisions that people criticize you for. They're going to tell you that you're wrong. And in those moments when your decisions turn out to be bad or criticized, resilience will carry you through the day. Darwin was right. It's not the strongest of the species, nor the most intelligent that will survive, but rather those of us that are the most resilient and adaptive to change. I could spend all afternoon telling you about the decisions I made that were wrong, but you got celebrations to have, so I'm just going to tell you one. It's in 1993, and I was about to register our eldest daughter, Diana, for preschool. Now, back in 1993, there wasn't online registration, so you had to go with piles of paper and stand in the pouring rain early in the morning outside the preschool, which I did. My number was called. I went in, handed my package of information to the preschool registrar. She looked it over and she said, "Do you have the custody order?" Now, I thought I was prepared for every single question I was about to be asked, but custody order wasn't one of them. I said, "Custody order? I don't have a custody order." She said, "Well, you're going to need a custody order in order to register this child for preschool." And I said, "Well, why? Why do I need a custody order?" And she said, "Well, when parents are registering for children for preschool, you have to make sure you know who has custody if it's not the birth parents. And I said, well, we are the birth parents. I'm the birth mom, Brad's the birth dad, we're the birth parents. That's how it goes. She said, well, it can't be that way because your name is Paish and his name is something else. I said, oh, well, that's easy. I said, I didn't change my name. I didn't change my name when I got married. And she did this. She put her glasses on the end of her nose. She looked over at me and she said, oh, you're one of those. At that moment, I thought my decision to not change my name had condemned my children to a life of failure, certainly in the preschool system, if not for the rest of their lives. I managed to get Diana registered for preschool by the skin of my teeth, and I spent the rest of the day, and in fact, weeks and months, wondering whether I'd made the right decision about what my surname would be after I got married. I decided that I had made the right decision, and I moved forward. I picked myself up and carried on. I had to be resilient. And so a few final thoughts on this very special day, a day that has arrived as a result of truly impressive decisions that you have made, decisions which now allow you to benefit from a panoply of opportunities. As your life journey continues, you will make a lot of good decisions. You will be resilient, and I'm sure that your values will guide you. I started my comments today noting that it's a day filled with inspiration, joy, fun, and gratitude. And I'll close with a couple of comments about gratitude. There are no two words in our language more powerful than thank you. Use them carefully. Use them sincerely. Never abuse them. Never, ever take them for granted. Thank you for the remarkable honor of being here with you today. It's an even greater honor to know that our healthcare sector and our technology sector are in very good hands. Thank you for the decisions that you've made to put yourself in the seat today, and for the decisions that you will make going forward to bring health and happiness to yourself and those around you. I leave you with one last story and my daily reverie. The story, as my other ones, is about my children. Several years after the preschool incident, we were sitting around the campfire. The kids were in high school. We were having a lovely discussion around the campfire, and then one of my girls said, Mom, why didn't you change your name when you got married? Flooding back was all of that tension from 1993, and I felt it appropriate at the campfire at that time to give a speech about independence and individual values and a little bit of women's rights thrown in there. And my 14-year-old came over, put her arms around me and said, Mom, it's just a name. It's what's in your heart that counts. It's what's in your heart that counts. And I'll leave you with my reverie, what I wake up to every morning and have done since I was a teenager in high school, the opening words of one of Carole King's incredible songs. You've got to wake up every morning and show the world all the love in your heart. After that, decision-making's quite easy. Congratulations. Thank you.